Hello and welcome to Fans Connect. A real delight to run it back for a second time in the week, and of course the last day of the week on a Friday here at Afro Sports Studios. Look who's here in the studio for Friday's edition of Fans Connect. Great to have you in your Monday. Always a pleasure to have you here because we been here all week monitoring events from the African Women's Championship, of course, keeping an eye on the transfer window as well. We've also been keeping an eye on the Wimbledon happening at the moment. So lots to look forward to, that's for sure. But it's great to have you here. How you doing?
Yeah, fantastic. Absolute pleasure to be here. Real pleasure from an African perspective to have an African tennis star get to the final of a major, and it's quite great for Ons Jabeur, and I'm sure the entire African continent is celebrating because that doesn't happen very often.
Right. I don't want to talk about the transfer window, at least not yet, but 27 days to the Premier League reopening is something we
You're counting the days like myself.
Yeah, certainly delighted about that. But of course, we're saddled with the responsibility of bringing you the Africa Women's Championship here on Afro Sports TV. Hope you've enjoyed the first 6 days of our live coverage across the continent, and especially with our spotlights on the Super Falcons of Nigeria, currently back to winning ways from yesterday. Let's start off with that story, shall we? Because we saw a 2-1 victory for Nigeria. I mean, interesting from a 2-0 actually. From a get your tournaments on the road point of view. Obviously, the fresh results a bit disappointing, but when you're in tournament mode, you cannot dwell. You can't dwell on the defeat. So good to have another win, first at the Win Nations Cup for the women, and most importantly, the fact that we are now in the place where we want to be going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very important to strike back immediately after what was a disappointing outing on Monday, and in some ways, you would want to say that the rude awakening we got on Monday was necessary, because you could go into a tournament because you've won it many times, because you've done it many times. You always have that sense of complacency going into a tournament like this, and it happened with the Super Falcons on Monday. They felt they could go into the team and just show up and beat South Africa, but African football, women's football, I should say, it's getting closer than it used to be, and you just don't need to show up. You need to show up and perform. And the Super Falcons found out that they just cannot show up and think it's done and dusted. And it was against Botswana. They needed to recover, and they did it. The manager made some changes, and it paid off. It was the first goal there, really brilliant pass from Ainde, and the finish from Anumonu. Anumonu was really good. As a striker's finish, his understanding of space was really, really good. But the pass is, for me, what made the goal. Ainde, brilliant pass there. And from there, you felt it was a really comfortable game for the Super Falcons. The second goal, thumping header there. Poor marking, you want to say. The quality of the opposition, not necessarily up to scratch, but she still needed to put that away, and she did it in convincing fashion, and you just felt that they were comfortable in the end.
Comfortable win for Nigeria, 2-0, the game finished. But speak to me about, you spoke about the pass, and I always like to run it a bit further back from the goal scorer. Talk to me about Tony Payne, who's been one of the consistent performers for Nigeria, even in the first game where we didn't quite win. She had a good performance. But speak to me about this pass from Halima to very good pass. I have to say the defender didn't do herself any favor by stepping up immediately.
Exactly, but the quality of the pass, I don't think the defenders anticipated that. She got it on the hard turn, and then immediately she found the space, and there's something to see a pass. It's another thing to quite execute it, and she did both of them quite brilliantly. She saw the pass, and she played it into the space, and the striker understood the assignment and just took it away in a very brilliant fashion with a weaker left foot. It's the quality, the measure of the pass was really good.
Well, great pass, of course, and great goal. Even better finish from the Onomonu. I always mix up my name, but great stuff there from the Super Falcons of Nigeria, getting their tournament up and running in earnest. So now we've got 3 points from the group. South Africa also getting 3 points as well. Interestingly, there's another team who's got 3 points as well, Botswana.
Botswana, I've got 3 points. South Africa have safely through to the next round. They've got 6 points. They've scored 5 goals, conceded 2. You would think that that should be home and dry for South Africa. More so when you consider the fact that they're playing against Botswana in the last group game, and you think that.
What do you think happens there?
I think South Africa probably get another 3 points and get.
What is the best possible outcome for Nigeria?
Clearly, we are condemned to beat Burundi in the last group game, and Burundi are the whipping girls of the group, and you should think that shouldn't really be a problem for Nigeria. It should be able to beat Burundi quite comfortably. But the important thing is, you stressed it at the start, the important thing is you're warming yourself back into the competition after a disappointing first game, because we've seen teams go into a tournament, get that rude awakening, and they haven't quite managed to recover from it.
Yeah.
What we did yesterday was very important. Against Burundi, we need to keep same of the same, keep the same energy and win and see where the tournament goes from there.
I tell you what the best news for Nigeria is that Botswana at the moment currently top the third best placed teams table with 3 points. So anything points or 3 points in the next game, I think should safely see us through, even though you'd expect Nigeria to go ahead and get all 3 points in the game. Talk to me, just as we wrap up on this part of the story of the show, about the negativity by the Nigerian media, which the coach has said, look, we sense the negativity coming from the Nigerian media. As a result, we're shutting down some of the access we've been giving to the Nigerian media in training and whatnot. Is that something you want to get into from a coaching perspective at the heat of a tournament?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure where Randy Waldrum is going with this, but clearly there's been a backlog of a lot of criticism of the team, some individuals in the team, age issues. They talked about Onomebi. I was really surprised she was out there yesterday, because I thought the manager was going to drop her, because everyone bashed her for the first goal we conceded. They just feel that feeling of, you've been here for so long, probably give another person a chance. And I think the manager just wants the team to concentrate.
So that's the manager, Randy Waldrum, who's been really graceful in his comments leading up to the tournament. He says the media in Nigeria is very negative. We don't want distractions in our team. We're trying to qualify for the World Cup, and the teams must be isolated.
I totally agree with him. I totally agree with him, because you need to keep the focus. The focus is to qualify to the World Cup by all means possible. And the players don't need the distraction. They don't need what they call negativity. They need to concentrate on the assignment at hand. But I just feel that as a team, sometimes you need to be open to criticisms. You're going to be criticized. Whether, as long as results are not going according to plan, you're going to be criticized.
I remind you that when next the player says they don't read the comments on social media, and the manager says, I don't read that stuff. We've got a couple of reactions there. I mean, people have been talking about this, and it's something that came up on part of a production. Someone said, despite British media being toxic, they've not brought any of the national team coaches to say in a World press conference that they're negative. Well, I think I've seen a couple of managers say, look, the negativity in the media doesn't necessarily mean it's
I don't think they use the word negative. They might use the word, you might hear the word agenda a lot. You could hear agenda.
I don't see the problem with the word negative. I don't see the problem with it.
Because when you say negativity, you're talking, it feels like there's a conspiracy. There's a clear, pathway to, antagonizing the team. And that may not look nice, but I don't think that's what the Nigerian media are doing. I don't think that's what they're doing. They're just saying, make the changes. We don't think that this is happening. We don't think so players should play. No, but and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. I honestly think that it's all fair game. The media are there to do a job. The people will do their job as much as they see fit. Ultimately, the professionals, be it photographers, sports writers who are there, TV broadcasters or radio broadcasters who are there. I mean, ultimately they have to, serve an audience, which depending on the demographic they have, decides how they want to go about their story making. So in the end, I don't see a problem with it. But it's all a fair game if Nigeria wins. In the end, we'll say it all work together for good. So, right then, let's get on to, I mean, there are more messages there on social media speaking about the association failing to address, or hopefully should address the World Drum comments. We'll see how that develops in the next couple of days. Right then, let's have Victor, who is on standby on the Sky platform. Hello, Victor. How are you? I think we're struggling to get Victor on the line there. But, I mean, I'm told Victor is back for us. Hello, Victor. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Great to have you here. Talk to us about the first win for the Falcons and how that's been received. From a fan's point of view, have you been pleased with the first win, or do you think we still have a long way to go in the tournament?
Wow. Okay, so that win was a breath of fresh air for me as a person, and for the Nigerian fans, for the Falcons fans, because it was needed. It was very much needed because they didn't perform as one would expect against South Africa, given that we had faced the same team before. I expected that we were meant to do better. But it's a tournament, and it's expected that you have to turn up for each game. And thankfully, it's just a group stage. There are 2 more matches to bounce back, and we've already won the first one. Looking forward to the second one, where it's a must-win, where we're not doing permutations to qualify. But the fans are excited about the win, but not so excited from a personal point of view because it was Botswana. No disrespect to them, but at the same time, against tougher opposition, can these same players turn up? I mean, the performance from striker Onumenu, Tony, Onome Ebi, it was all good. I mean, the performance all around was good. I mean, Francis Caldega back in the team, performing well down the left, was all good, and we're expecting the team to get better as the tournament goes on.
Great stuff, Victor. Have you been disappointed with the injury to best player? I mean, best player, quote unquote, in Aziza Shola. Is that a big blow for the team? Do you think it's something the team can move on with and get better?
Yes and no. Okay. So yes, because she's a top talent. She's a good striker. I mean, the top goal scorer in the Spanish La Liga for Barcelona. But at the same time, if you look at it from another point of view, her absence might have given Onumenu the chance to actually thrive up front. And I feel like the team would miss her. But from the performance we saw yesterday, it looks like the team is going to grow as the tournament grows with the new strike force. So it's a 50-50, depending on how you want to look at it or the perspective you want to come from.
Great stuff, Victor. Totally appreciate your thoughts and totally enjoy talking to you. Keep warm. I see it's raining where you are with the hoodie and everything.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's quite cold here.
Fantastic. Great stuff then. All right, Ini, we have to take a break now. When we come back, we'll touch base with the Wimbledon, where another African tennis player doing great stuff. She's also a woman. Welcome back to France Connect here at Afro Sports. Please do follow us on social media at Afro Sports TV, at France Connect NG on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's great to still have Iniobong Monday in the company of France Connect. Look, every time we speak on a Friday, I always look forward to what's the new big story, what's the new thing we have to be excited about. And look, step forward, Ons Jabeur, fantastic performance so far at the Wimbledon. I mean, for a couple of us have been following our progress a couple of years ago. 2011 Roland Garros Junior winner. Of course, the spotlight is on you then, but you have to now prove that you're worth the hype. So last year, Wimbledon, Australian Open quarterfinals. This year, she's made it to the quarterfinals once more at the Wimbledon. She's Tunisian and got the world in front of her. Talk to me about how impressed you've been with her performance so far at the Wimbledon.
Yeah, she's been absolutely incredible. Incredible in the sense that she's managed to go through this tournament with a lot of composure, because when you come at this level and you're world number 2, you've got a lot of pressure on you. She's been doing incredible things in the past year or so to get to the heights she's done. And when you talk about the first African woman and the first Arab woman, Arabian man or woman to get this far in a major tournament, it's just quite incredible. You can only hope that she goes one step further and get into the history book, because it's quite fantastic for an African woman and an African on the whole, because you're looking at young girls, young boys who are aspiring to do great things in tennis. They've got to be looking at her and saying, this is the inspiration, this is the trailblazer, and we're really proud as Africans.
It's not just what she does on the court, it's the way she carries herself off the court as well. No controversies so far. Last year she beat Gabi Muguruza, Venus Williams. She also beat Iga Swiatek as well. So she's claimed some major scalps on the way. So there's a question about how
quality
she could perform if she comes up against some of the bigger players. But look, second time at the quarterfinals at Wimbledon, won Australian Open quarterfinals. She actually won the Spanish Open in Madrid earlier this year. So she's got a bit of a feel for the big stages now. It's about that taking that one bigger step. The semi-final, possibly the final. Look, it's just about getting past this phase here. Then we can, of course, talk about the final later.
Yeah, she's going into what is going to be an incredible day for her tomorrow against Elena Rybakina, and it's quite incredible because she's got the crowd going for her. She's had a lot of support. The fan base have really supported her. It's the way she goes about her work. It's the way she goes about her stuff, and it's quite fantastic, because when you're that charismatic as a woman, it's just very important to see what you're doing. Her numbers are getting really good, and in the past few years, in the past few months, she's been absolutely incredible, and you can see on your screen the numbers, the achievements, and it can only get better.
Yeah.
If she goes that step further in beating Rybakina in the final tomorrow, I think she goes down in history as one of the greatest tennis stars to come from the continent of Africa.
So, I mean, you would be right to say the last few years, because she, hit the big stages back in 2011. So, first of many firsts for her. First woman in Africa, first Tunisian player, first Arabian woman, and of course she's in the final as well. How about we link up with an expert as far as the women's tennis goes, I dare say, in Nigeria, Biola Solace. Talk to us about how you've been impressed with her performances so far. I'm sure you've been keeping an eye on a couple more players, but most importantly, from an African perspective, Biola, how's the journey for Ons Jabeur been?
Yes, I think it's fantastic, not just for Ons Jabeur herself, but for Tunisian tennis and for African tennis as well. It's a pretty big deal. I mean, she's been reaching heights after heights after heights, and she's been going from, one better ranking to the other. It's been fantastic, really. She's been making very steady progress, and it's really good to see. She's currently world number 2, definitely the second best player on tour this year as well. So I think this is really good for African tennis, because we don't have the best of representation really in the world of tennis. So it's very important to see that an African player, an Arab woman, is doing so well in the world of tennis.
Great stuff there. I mean, it feels like you have a future tennis player somewhere running around the house. But look, from an African perspective, how big a story is this? Look, we speak about African players all the time, be it footballers or, tennis or NBA players. But talk to me about the ripple effects this could potentially have on the continent. She's number 2 in the rankings at the moment. But if she goes on to win, how big could that be?
I think it gives other African players motivation. They can see now that it's very possible to play in the WTA, to win big WTA titles, to win Grand Slams. I mean, it's a huge feat for African tennis. We don't have so many African players on the WTA tour, on the ATP tour, in world tennis generally. We have just the likes of Ons Jabeur and world number 50 in Egypt's Maya Sharif. So this definitely gives young girls, other tennis players who are looking to rise in WTA some motivation. They know they can do it. If Ons Jabeur can do it, they definitely can. I mean, she mentioned it after her match against Tatiana Maria that she hopes to see other African players, other Tunisian players in the WTA tour and rising as well. So it is definitely a huge boost. And I'm hoping that officials and organizers of different tournaments in tennis, African tennis, can put a lot more effort into developing players, seeing that Ons Jabeur can do it. Then definitely a lot of work has to go into other players as well. Ons Jabeur didn't get here in a day, by the way. A lot of work went into it. So I believe this can drive other players to put in that work because they know they can get there as well.
Great stuff, Biola. I can't let you go without taking a prediction for the final. Clearly, your heart must be telling you Ons Jabeur, but what does your head tell you?
I'll be seeing heart and head on Jabeur, to be honest. Heart and head on Jabeur. Not just because she's African, but because she has been getting really good results. Has won only Iga Swiatek, one of all Iga Swiatek has won more matches than her this year. And she's been improving match after match, really. She's been showing a whole lot of good signs. So yes, I'll say Ons Jabeur is favorite. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park, definitely not. Ribakina is definitely not a pushover, and she has shown that. But I'll be giving Ons Jabeur this time.
Great stuff, Biola, and of course, hopefully you come back up talk to us on this prediction. We'll have to play this video back if Ons Jabeur wins. But thanks for making out the time, and of course, have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
Great stuff, Biola Chukwu, who is one of the most foremost experts as far as tennis goes in this country. So good to have her on the show. But Ini, that's pretty much what we can take. We've spoken to two Skype callers who have given us a great insight. But I'm just going to take a prediction tomorrow as well. Who do you think wins it? Biola says, Ons Jabeur has to be the favorites. But what does your head tell you?
Africa United. We've got to say Ons Jabeur. Yeah, and it's not sentiment. It's on form. It's quality. It's what she's doing. She's at the peak of her power. She's enjoying her tennis, and you just feel that she will carry that confidence into the final tomorrow and get it done.
Right then. Great stuff, Ini. Always good to see you on a Friday or on a Tuesday. Always great to see you tune into us every day, of course, as well on Afro Sports Now, as well as Fans Connect, which happens at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays. So be a part of it on social media as well. How about you go follow us on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram at Fans Connect NG, and of course Afro Sports TV. Use the hashtag Afro Sports and Fans Connect for your tweets too. I'll be ready on future shows. It's been a real pleasure to have you hang with us. We'll see you next week, Tuesday, from myself and Ini. Bye-bye.